Hi, I'm Paul from Velo, and I've had my G line for almost 2 months. So we're going to call this video the 2-month review. How have I been getting on with the bike? I've been riding it lots and lots and lots. It's covered in dust from around this West Country. It's covered in dust from the New Forest. Let's go for a ride and see what I think of this magical beast. So 5 things. Let's start with what I would improve or like little tweaks to the G line. So 1, for me, the handlebars are a little bit low. I wouldn't mind them just up a little bit. I think I've been spoiled with the P6R, the other Brompton that I have, where I have quite a high riding position. So that's for me to get used to. I know there's some versatility in the handlebars, moving them backwards and forwards, and I've tried lots and lots of positions. I've also tried different grips. I've settled on just a kind of set of mountain bike grips. So for me, if there was a little bit more versatility in the handlebars, that would be nice to be improved. And that leads us on to point number 2, the Brompton grips. They're ergonomic grips. They're really nice. I've tried some other ergonomic grips with bar ends, but I've settled on some nice mountain bike grips. So for me, yeah, swapping out the grips was something that I did first of all. So number 3, I'm going to rush through the last 3 little things quite quickly because there's so much that I love about this. And I lied, I'm not sure that I can stick to 5 things that I love about the G line. So I'll just let loose. I'm sure it's going to be around about 10. Anyway, number 3, the gears. The gears are a huge positive, but they have slipped now and again in kind of 5 and 4, not when changing, just as though it's something that's just not engaging as quick as it should. It is paired with a micro shifter. It's not the Shimano one. Could be something to do with that, but it has got better. What I reckon it is I reckon that hub was probably built last year, maybe even before. It's been put on the bike. The bike was probably built last year. Let's say it's the non-mudguard option. So this probably isn't as popular, and it just kind of needs to bed in. What I'm going to do to compensate for it is I'm going to bring the oil service for the rear hub forward, so probably 300 miles instead of 600 miles, and I reckon that will just make it super smooth. I did a huge ride on the weekend and it was perfect. So it's just a little niggle, nothing really to worry about. Now, I know everyone likes black components, and yes, the G line probably wouldn't look good silver, but the problem is with black components is they're silver underneath. So if you want to move the shifters, the brakes, if you want to do stuff, you just end up scratching the bike all the time. So whether that is something I don't have to worry about on my P6R because it's all silver, and therefore if it gets scratched, it doesn't really matter. You know, I know it looks better, but for me, it's just overkill, if I'm honest. This isn't the electric Brompton, and I don't plan to put any electric components on it, but I understand for manufacturing costs, they will make one frame that does both the electric version and the non-electric version. It's not the end of the world, but for me, it would be nice not to have the electric fitting. So at the back, I think they've got a thing for the derailleur or the sensor or something. I think it's a derailleur. They've got some internal cable routing, which could be used for another purpose. So they've made one frame that caters for all of the range, electric and non-electric. It's just a little thing. It would be cleaner if this was just for the Alpine 8 and you didn't have those extra bits because they're not going to go on the bike. But that is just my little gripe. The last tiny little item, number 5, is the pedals. I prefer clip-ins. The pedals were okay, and I do like the ingenious design that when it's folded, the pedal can pop into the fork. I'm not too worried about folding it day to day and the compact size of it. And the left one, there was a little bit of play in it, you know, maybe more than I would want, but I'm getting on better with the bike with clip-ins because I just prefer it. But yeah, pedals probably could have been better. Now, enough. Do I love the Brompton G line? Go for a little ride and I'll tell you some things that I absolutely love about this dreamy bike. So I think I'm just going to have to rack off what I love about the G line because there's so much. Let's have a look. I love the saddle. It's really comfy. There's a grip underneath for you to hold the bike when folded or hold not folded. So I really, really, really like that. and would be tempted to get myself another one. I like the brakes. I think the brakes are epic. I think they just stop really well. I just love them to bits. I'm not 100% happy about the bleed procedure. I will say one thing, that the rear brake had air in it, so I did have to sort that out. So not great, Brompton, but that happens. And there's brakes that do cleaner bleed procedures basically, but they are nice. They feel really nice. I love the handlebar position with the water bottle. I think that's great. It's right there in front of me. I've got that on my other Brompton, but I've had to buy an aftermarket bag for that. So that is great. I love all the luggage, how all the luggage fits on. I've not got the rack and mudguards, and I'm really happy that I didn't buy them. I think if you want that option, you are better off buying it at the initial purchase because it's much cheaper. I wanted this to differentiate this bike away from my other Brompton, so I chose not to have it, but I'm very happy that I haven't. I'm not planning to take it out in filthy weather. It's going to kind of be a more fair weather bike. So yeah, really happy with how it looks in that regard. So another couple of things before we go for more of a ride. I really like the wheels. I'm a wheel builder, so I've been able to kind of analyze them and see if they perform well, if they've gone out of true much, maybe a light true after some kind of heavier riding. But no, they've been really good. They feel really nice, and I really, really like the tires. I like the look of them. They're really grippy. They've only slipped out on me on like really polished limestone, which you can understand because it's super polished and there's not like a bigger tire to grip either side of the polishness. So if it hits that, that was just once. Other than that, they've been pretty faultless, and touch wood, I've had no punctures. They're not set up tubeless. I'm not planning to, because even though tubeless has loads of benefits, it can be a faff if it goes a bit wrong. So I'll keep it tubed and good to go. So yeah, very happy with the wheels, and hopefully I won't need to rebuild them anytime soon. So you would have seen some footage of me at Ashton Court Estate in Bristol doing some light mountain biking. I would say it's a blue run with bits of red, but they're quite mild. And the G-Line loves it. The handling of this bike is really, really nice. It feels like a bigger bike. It feels like a purposeful gravel bike. It is just great. You do have to make compensation for the fact that it has smaller wheels, and it is, if you're going to hit a rooted section or big rocks, it is going to jar you more than a bigger wheeled bike, but it handles really, really nicely. And yeah, very confidence inspiring. But what I would say this, just a caveat, is I have mountain biked all my life, and I went up to Scotland. Well, I was a mountain bike instructor before I moved to Scotland, but then went to Scotland and did a lot of guiding and stuff. So I'm able to transfer those skills that I've learned in other cycling disciplines like mountain biking into the G-Line. What I'd always say is make sure you ride within your limits. It's a great gravel bike. I don't think it's going to love like full-on mountain biking. I wouldn't go over to Wales and go to one of the big centres there with it. I would choose another bike. But for light gravel, blue runs, easy blue runs, nice bermy sections, it is really nice. But remember, stay safe on the bike, because I've seen lots of accidents, and always wear a helmet when you're doing off-road. Keeping my hands locked in, because Sarah says I'm pointing too much. I apologise, I don't know where that's come from. Maybe just a bit too enthusiastic. Gearing. Yeah, really like the gearing. I've got standard 52 at the front, or I don't know what the cog is at the back with the Alpine 8. Sorry, I can't be more specific, but it's just the standard, whatever comes with it. And I don't feel like I need more gears. I've done some really like big hills on the bike. I've done some big hills off-road, and I don't know if it's just the combination of the bigger tyres, the 20-inch wheels. It just doesn't slow as much as my other Brompton, the 16-inch wheeled one. It just wants to keep going. Some regards, when you're going up quite a steep hill off-road like I did on the weekend, it feels like it's got a bit of an electric motor. It just wants to keep going. Therefore, I wouldn't want to go down to a 54, not 54, a 40 tooth or a 44 tooth front chainring. That would just be a bit overkill. Also, on some descents, I have kind of used all the gears, so I'm just kind of spinning. So for me, the gear ratio is perfect, and I haven't just been riding it on flat terrain. So well done, Brompton and Shimano. So the last positive point before I summarize is the paint. The paint finish on this bike is super durable. As mentioned, I don't have the mud guards, which you can see, so any stones or that are going to flick up at the frame can't get caught by the mud guards, so they hit the bike. I probably get less come up than my mountain bike, but I can't see any chips at all. It's a really nice finish. I know nothing about paint finishes, but I do know that companies like Brompton, they have to spend a lot of time developing paint finishes, working with paint companies. I know that there's a lot to it. So I think when people talk about the price and they're really expensive, all of these little things have got to be taken into account. You know, the rear hub is £400 by itself. So all of these things add up. And I'm surprised that they can actually deliver a bike that's assembled in the UK, built in the UK, the main frame and other bits built in the UK at the price point that they do. So I'm very surprised because of the quality of the bike. But I love the paint finish. I think it's great. It was my initial hesitation with getting one was just, am I going to take it out and it's going to get chipped left, right and center? But it's been really good. It's really nice and resilient. So yeah, super happy. I love the green and I think it's a really nice looking bike. So to summarize, I would give the G-Line a 9 out of 10. I think it's brilliant. For my purposes, it's really good. I think that score would be adjusted if I had to use it for commuting or I had to fold it lots and pick it up, because my P6R, the smaller wheeled Brompton, is the one for the job. And if I could only have one bike, or I was only allowed one bike, I would go towards my other Brompton, because that ticks more boxes in terms of a more versatile bike and companion that you can use for lots of different purposes. But the G-Line has been lovely. I've really enjoyed riding it. I love all its features, and we live just on the edge of Bristol, so there's all these other paths that I could do, I can now do. I could do them on my mountain bike, but generally the Brompton's a bit more fun, so it ticks my box in terms of a fun bike, a bit of a giggle, something different to have out and about, talk to people about, and I just think it's really good. I think Brompton have done a great job. So I think the G-Line makes a great gravel bike. I think I've said in previous videos, if you want a gravel bike and you're doing gravel racing and you're doing more full-on gravel, you're not going to get a G-Line. But if you want a real versatile bike, it ticks loads of boxes, the G-Line is great. If your space is limited or you want to keep a bike in the house, you don't have to fold it and unfold it loads, and you don't have to pick it up loads. It's a really good bike. If you need that type of thing from a Brompton, then I would say go for one of the other models. But it's just great. I mean, I can ride around now and I can look at a trail that I can do before, a little offshoot of a path, and it just soaks it up. I'm surprised today I haven't actually taken it on like a graded mountain bike track, and even though it's on the lower side, it just handles brilliantly. So even at that level, coming round and bashing around nice smooth Burmy mountain bike tracks, yeah, it just is great. I think it will be a very much, like I said, a fair weather bike. I've got it at the perfect time. All the trails are nice and bedded down and hard, and they're not super muddy. If it was going to be winter and all the trails are muddy, then I would grab the mountain bike and use that. But I love it. I'm really happy with it, and yeah, I would give it a 9 out of 10. I've mentioned a few points, like the handlebars. I think if the handlebars were a little bit higher, or there was the option of doing a more touring position, for me it would probably get a 10, because then it would just be good to go. But I think really it's kind of a fun jump around 20-30ish mile bike rather than like an all day bike. Love it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you've got any questions, please let us know, and please subscribe. We always appreciate it, and we'll let you know how we're getting on with the G-Line a bit longer term. And also we've got the oil service to do, and we'll do some other videos very G-Line orientated. So yeah, thanks for watching and see you later.